biggest problem anybody could have is actually working remotely. You know the reason I'm laughing? February last year, up to this point, I've gotten over 100 rejects, get SQL knowledge. I think in the job markets, you are the only thing you would not have is experience. And there's one thing you can use to increase experience.
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to join today's podcast. Really exciting to have you here. I know that you're busy working and then you are also learning as well. So, again, thank you for taking a few moments of your time to join us today. So, without further ado, we're going to be getting in. This is our very first edition of the Jenga Podcast. Now, for those of us who don't know what the Jenga Podcast is, it is the Learn Ups team. The Learn Ups division is the division where you come in, where you meet your facilitators, they handle your training. So these are your analysis, data analytics, and all of that. These are your facilitators. It's the makeup of their division. And we've recently launched a podcast where we get to know people like you better, our participants, the people who make us beat. So we want to learn more about your background. We want to learn more about your story. We want to hear from the horse's mouth what your experience is like. But that's not all. This also gives you the opportunity as well to build your stage. Now, we are getting started with pod leaders specifically. So, pod leaders are people who lead pods. That's where the cohort is broken down into smaller units. And pod leaders take on a leadership role and guides their people from the start of the program all the way to completion. Now, Ibrahim is a pod leader. I'm going to let Ibrahim introduce himself. And I have to say, before Ibrahim comes in, it's not an easy thing for you to say, I want to lead a pod. In fact, we're having a conversation recently, and it was pod leaders just sharing their stories and sharing their frustrations, and a lot of people had very interesting things to say. Ibrahim was one of those who spoke, I would say, with empathy and who understood that it's not an easy thing, first of all, for you to lead a pod, and you also have to understand where they are coming from. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to leadership, looking outside of the self and then looking at the people, which is one of the reasons why we said Ibrahim has to be one of the first guests that we have on the podcast. So I've said a whole lot, but I'm going to let Ibrahim introduce himself and talk about, just give us a background, talk about your journey, your career, and then also talk about the pods that you are leading. Over to you, Ibrahim.
All right. Thank you so much. And you've said a lot, and you've still not said anything. So, hello everyone. My name is Ibrahim. That's my full name. Um, Before I transition into tech, because I'm going to transition, I am a technical and fundamental analyst. Um, I've spent about 8 years in the crypto space, and during those years, I've also been a tutor. So I teach people how to do technical analysis. I love researching. I'm a very curious person. I'm more like if I see something happening, I want to know the reason it's happening. I want to know why it is happening. That's just me naturally. I don't like when I hear something and I've never heard it before. I want to know what that thing is. So that's I'm a very curious person right from start. That is also what led me to crypto in the first place. So transitioning into tech was actually because I've been analyzing data for over 5 years. So I wanted to like understand data because all I do is I wake up in the morning, I go to the crypto market, I analyze charts, I drop charts for my people, I explain the charts to them, I break it down to them. But over the time, I noticed that there's actually some lapses. There's some people are talking about some financial types. I don't know it. So I actually wanted to understand it. So this is not my first time trying to transition into tech. But I just told myself that no, this time around I am going to try my best as possible. So curiosity, let me just say, curiosity led me to 10 Let me give you back the mic.
Interesting way to put it, to value curiosity led me into. I would do the same thing if as the PAO of Canada. I've always had been curious, what got there, what the kind of career. And I would say that curiosity to a large extent let me, and it was mostly my inability to keep quiet. I was always curious about what is going on here, what is going on here. That led me okay, well, we're here to get to know you better. Right? So I'm going to start off our second question in really getting okay. So you said what led with all the growth here, although you did great support aspect. I want you to take us back to the very beginning of things. So what was that moment when you, okay, I have to be his lieutenant. I have to step into this. I have to learn. What led you to make that decision? And you kind of talked on it, but I would like for you to expand on it better. What was that moment again? I have to get into this and I want to come in there. I really want to be my skill. But not just that, beyond that, that moment when you said, hey, you know what? I want to lead the pod. Let's get into this.
All right. Honestly, this is not my first time trying to learn something. In 2023, I tried learning product management because I was curious about it too. In 2024, I tried learning HTML, CSS. I would just start it, but I need to finish it. Then last year, which was 2025, I tried learning Python. But Python later Python. I also I also left that too. But this year, when this year started, I told myself that before the year ends, I want to actually start something. But I want to start something I am going to finish. So that particular day, I and my sister were talking. Then she just said, since you are a technical analyst, why don't you try and learn data analytics? I said, if I want to learn it, I have to learn something that will relating to what I'm doing so that I'll be able to connect them later. So then she told me about data analytics because she's actually a student right now at data analytics. Then she told me she can't when she said it the first time, I was like, I don't hear. Then she said it the second time thought, and then when I checked it up, then I saw that I could actually go into financial data analytics. And that was the only thing I needed. So, you know, when I was starting, I said my journey was I was a technical analyst, or I am still a technical analyst, and I actually did it self-learning. I taught myself how to do it, and I was very good at it. So then notice that if I can teach myself something and I know it better, what if I'm actually in structured learning platform? That means it should be very easy for me to actually pick up pieces. If I can do it on my own, and I now have someone I'm actually asking, I will be able to just do this thing ASAP. So that was the only thing I needed. And that was the reason I actually came to the analytics. So my sister, she was not that told me.
Well,
She was not
thank
that
you.
told me. She's still a right now. I think she joined I think April cohort or something, like a month before I started mine. I was just trying to thinking that saying sorry.
In fact, what course did you take in analytics?
I think big it's clear or data one of it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's clear.
Okay. So how about the moment where you will want to learn, I want to become or we was motivation with so because now it's not just how you learn. No, it's now people. Now you got a couple of people like Kyle and one. How about that really? What could really be that?
Okay. One thing about me, it was not actually about me trying to lead. It is about me. I love the fact that when I understand something, someone beside me should understand that also. Like I said, I used to teach technical analysis. I think I have about 400 students also. I have taught technical analysis. So I know how to teach, and I understand that the more I teach someone something, the more I actually understand it too. And there's a saying I used to live by, which is if you read something and you think you know it, if you have the ability to explain to someone else and that person gets it too, that's it. That means you've actually understood it. So it's led me to the and also when I joined and I also noticed that probably people are a little bit shy trying to interact with each other. And because me, I actually I love being in a community where we all know each other, we all talk to each other. And I just try to like talk to this one, talk to that one. Then when I noticed that they're not really responding, I started disturbing them. That's the kind of leader I am. I'm the kind of leader that's if I see you're not working, I'll make sure you are doing something. I'll call you. I used to video call my pod members. Okay, what don't you understand? If you don't want to do drop-in session, you can actually come to me out because I believe that if you have a problem that I've actually never had, I would make research on it and I would know the problem so that whenever I encounter that problem in the future, so I'll be able to solve it. So me leading is like me still learning. I'm also learning how to be a better because I understand that being a leader is not about do this, do that, do this, do that. It's all about how can I help you? How can I be of help to you? And that's just kind of continuing on. I love helping people. That's just the reason I actually pay for that. And also because I feel like different people they came from different background. So they need someone that actually understands almost everything to bring everybody together. Because some people are like, oh, I'm shy. I know how to deal with a shy person. Oh, I'm vocal. I know how to deal with a vocal person. So I'm just that kind of person that understand people really. So that's why I actually care about it.
That's what to hear it. Make it sound so interesting. But I have to say, what would you say has been your biggest challenge? Your biggest challenge, in this journey, especially as a thought leader. What has been the biggest challenge that you had to face? And it could be something that you could say is unique to your pod, or maybe it's unique to your learning journey. A challenge that you've had to face.
Mm, I don't think I've had a personal challenge that I've not been able to overcome. Probably when I was trying to understand some terms. And when I'm trying to understand something, if I go through the analytics platform, if I go through several videos, I also make sure I make my own extra researches. So all those things did not really allow me have a personal challenges faced while learning. But the challenge that I just feel is probably trying to communicate, like trying to break the deadlock in my group. Everywhere was silent. The only person that was dropping messages was the facility people. The person would just drop message, everybody reads. Like I think people were scared, like I'm not scared, probably just feeling like don't let me say anything. So breaking that deadlock, sending the first message in people, and also people reading the messages and not responding. But I actually don't like messaging someone and you know reply me. I don't like it. So breaking that deadlock and people not responding, I still did not find that even before I was a body that I did not still find it. I was not angry about it when they did not really um when they don't really reply. I still make sure I sent another message and I said the follow up and I started telling them that no now you guys must talk. So I'm just that kind of let me just say probably that's the only challenge I had. Then when I now noticed that it is probably because they had different scheduled, some of them they have work to go, all those kind of things. So I now make sure I manage that scenario. Then also the challenge also is some people are in the UK, in some different regions, which means if I say that okay, let us all agree on the time to have a meeting. Some might say 4 o'clock, another one will say 10, another one will say so I make sure that if you say 4, I will do that meeting 4. You say 10, I'll still do on that meeting 10. So what I tell this one, I'll make sure I jot it down. And I'll still later use another meeting for the next person also to teach the person too. So that's just the kind like I make sure that I don't want to say it's 10 o'clock. As long as you are available by that time, you will meet me in the class. But if you say 4 o'clock and you still meet by 4 o'clock, I'm just that kind of that's just the only challenge I have, which is the region being because me, I'm in Nigeria right now. Some of them are in the UK, some in Canada. So I have to make sure that whatever time zone you are saying you have, I will make sure I appear and I help you solve whatever you want me to solve. So that's just the way I do my own part. It's like a family.
That's it's important thing to answer. Ticket like getting your body test here. So it's like funny. And I think that logistics once they can find all of this is easier to be but serious. You mentioned that we all in different. So how do you also have like a and you've also said that they speak you are also here. So I can see what the family is like and what the family getting at pussy. And the hoping this guessing what we say is the community. Like say do I and from how we balance that up in everything that he like we I they also have job balance it. So how be balance and the time to stay there. Go on. I want to help you. I'm going to talk to Ken and then I'm going to get a call with you. Well, what do you need? Let's get into it. Helps him learn, right? But getting better at it much faster than it would without all of that. But how do you balance?
I think the biggest problem anybody could have is actually working remotely. You know, some people when they work or when they work 9 to 5 and they are going to work, they know that they have to wake up by 7, be ready before 9, leave the house before 9. They are structured. But the moment you're working remotely, you need to understand that working remotely is actually harder than going to work. And the reason is just because of you are in your own space. You need to manage your time. You need to understand how to manage your time. For instance, I sleep by 10, 11 to make sure that I wake up by 5, 6. So when I wake up, I make sure that before anybody's going to message me, I'm actually going to be probably 3 to 4 hours on my own without anybody interfering. So I know that before they start messaging it to be around that 12, 1. So that's what I do. So I make sure I do have a structured way I do my thing. Then probably by 12 o'clock, 12 p.m. in the morning, 12 p.m. in the afternoon, 1 p.m., I'm actually available for anybody till nightfall also. So I make sure that it is not every day out. I also told them to probably message me too. For instance, when I was teaching and I was teaching technical analysis, I used to have my class every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I know that Tuesday and Thursdays is all for myself. So I also try to integrate that also into my pod. I tell them that okay, on Monday and Wednesday and on Friday, I know that I'm very, very free on that day. So, but if you want to drop in on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, you have to probably message me by this time, by this time. So it's more like structure for you. As a remote worker, if you want to work remotely, you need to be self-disciplined about your time because you might lose a job because of your discipline. If they tell you that you have a deadline and you're telling them that, oh, you are busy, you have this, you need to learn how to manage your time. I think if you understand that from the scratch, you won't really have any issue to work in remotely because most people, once you tell them that why are you trying to learn code, they say, oh, I want to work remote, I want to work remote. But can you actually handle working remotely? Most people can't do that. So if from the scratch, even as a pod leader or even as someone that is learning, you need to make sure that you manage your time properly. If you have kids, if you have husband, like you have anything you are doing, know that okay, my kids have to go to bed by 10. Make it structured that they are going to bed by 10 so that you have time for yourself. So that's just the way it is. It is not like it is not compulsory the way I do it, the way another do it, but the knowledge should be the same thing. Like the technicalities is that find time for yourself, no matter how hard it is. Look at the reason you started and know where you are going. Nothing is going to be able to stop you.
So leadership in tech needs very different from traditional leadership. It's a huge difference. And we just touched on one of the most important difference when you're working in it. So how do you describe a need to actually be in this space? You know, it's different when you're seeing it face to face, where I have to come into the office and we have a conversation. But now you have to be the leader. And in this case, you're also working with people who are in different teams. And you have to get, you know what? This is the direction we are going to go in. How is it different to go using in person or digital? What's that different?
Okay. I believe the biggest form of leadership is when you have a group of people with the same goal. If everybody have the same goal, it is not really going to be hard to lead there. For instance, we all know that this is what we are trying to solve. This is where we are going. So automatically, so without you telling someone what to do, they know what to do. So, but if you find yourself in a place where everybody have different goals, that is when leadership becomes an issue. And when you as a leader, when you notice that this person is drifting off, you need to make time specially for that person. Understand that everybody under you are not equal. Then when you notice that this person lags behind and this person is not lagging behind, you need to make sure that you prioritize talking to this person more than you're talking to this person without allowing this one to know you're prioritizing this one. Probably just enter this particular person's DM. Like you have to make sure you balance it very well. So if you have an issue as a leader, you need to make sure that everybody remains on the same goal. For instance, if I put leader after analytics, the goal is the goal should be beyond the analytics. That's what I told them. I told them that I just don't want to be a pod leader for probably the 8 months that I work on analytics. I actually wanted to exceed beyond the analytics as a family. Let's all still stick together, even after. So this is going to be like a community of analysts. So I make sure that from the onset, everybody is having the same goal. And once I notice that probably this person, I also try to monitor from my from the platform also. I will check the person that is watching this week. oh, this person is not watching this video. Then I'll go and ask the person that will advise you. So I make sure that I check up in there because some people, even though they are paying for it, they still need someone to always ask them, oh, how are you doing? Oh, do you have any issue? Because some people are actually probably shy, or some people give up easily once they try to solve this problem. Probably it's giving them error. Look, I'm fine. I'll continue tomorrow. And by the time they wake up tomorrow, you'll be like, I didn't even understand safe. I'm tired. And this so I give them tips on how to undo things. And sometimes we just solve the things themselves. Or maybe when I'm trying to teach them something, I teach them the reason behind what I'm actually teaching them. For instance, when I was teaching them how to use XLOOKUP, because they were trying to understand the technicalities beside behind it. I did not just explain well this understand. I allowed them apply it because I believe that they understand better through application when they're applying it in their table. So, and when I noticed that this person understood more than this person, I did 2 sessions for one of them. I did 1 session for the other. So, as a leader, you just need to like balance up everything and make sure that everybody's on track.
Thank you so much for this one. So let's say that you turn back to hand time. You go all the way back. Turn back the hand time. Would you still scary? I want to step with you, not the program itself, but really on that. You think it actually is a this the hall.
I think that's actually a very straightforward question because I've been a leader. Like I've always been a leader, always been a leader. Like it is what I actually don't. Sometimes I don't even ask to be the leader. I would be made the leader. That's just so. It's not. It's something that's. It just happens like naturally that okay, because I love helping people. I don't like even when I was in school. Then if I understood whatever the lecturer teaches us, and the other people are actually having issue, I'll make sure they understand it. I will always make sure they understand. So that's just the kind of person I am. Even technical analysis, still the same thing. Host classes for them. Sometimes 50 people might show up in class. I'll still go and message the rest of the people to make sure that everybody is on track. I drop videos. I still do the extra mile to explain it later. So it's just one thing that's going back. I would already know that okay, if this thing comes, I'm going to figure it out. But it's not something I chase that oh, I want to be your neighbor. No, it's something that's happens naturally because of the kind of person I find myself to be. And it's actually really, really nice being a puppy that after analytics.
I have to say that it can come naturally to me. So it's not something that you are really figured out. As a matter of fact, if you were giving me the option to say all the stuff, I'd be like, yeah, sure. When I was growing up, I used to hear this term that a leader is like a trash bag. And everybody just put all of their trash and just throw it in there. I really was stepping into leadership. Now that I realized that, wait, no, this is not me. Because I used to be very comfortable and so if you give me, I'll give you back. But I realized that, this what is different. I think stepping into
Mhm.
management, I realized that everybody has like a different personality. And you've also touched on different work. The way you manage it is not the way you manage it. And the way you manage you is not the way you manage C. But for a lot of people, they typically try to apply the same kind of management style to everybody, and that's why all VP falls apart. So the fact that you already expanded the station, I think that's super amazing. So I'd like to know though, what is your plan for analytics? To kind of upload it as well. You let yourself your family, we're definitely gonna be keeping in touch. But what is your plan for your pod and then also for your career as well?
Um, I believe everybody's goal after learning or probably while learning is that they want to work remotely, they want to find a job. But let's be honest, some people have actually don't even know how to do it. They don't even though if you tell them this is the platform you're supposed to do, they still can't do it. So my goal is actually probably before I'm done or after I'm done, and I actually am able to secure a credible financial analyst job for myself. I'll make sure that everybody in my pod understand the process because some of them too, their LinkedIn, they are trying to optimize it, their portfolio, they're still trying to. So I've already created a structured. If one thing about if you see this book, this particular book here, it contains everything I've learned at analytics. So what I'm doing is when I'm done and probably some of them oh, I don't know how to do this because some before we started the program was when they first taught us how to like optimize LinkedIn, how to create portfolio. But most of them don't actually know how to do it. They probably just skip it and skip it. So when they are going back to it, they might not really understand. So I've actually promised to be there for them. I just told one of them that whenever you're ready to build your portfolio website, just hit me up. We're going to do. Then I send the person my own that you can actually use this template or this one for you. So I'm that kind of person that I won't leave your neck. So I will not leave your neck. I always make sure that you get this thing because even though you paid for this, you still actually deserve to get the first start of it. So
Okay, okay. Uh, One of the bad of community is I'm trying to be very I'm trying to get somewhere and I'm most important people who can support me in that work that they provide. When he come up with the concept for one of the things that he wrote that was when we get into it over because a lot of talk about in sales, I want to do the reality and then we keep the cohorts reflecting of that, reflecting number of people are cohort. Then we break it down into TV and but then you find that, a lot of people need more support. And then we try to offer that support. But different people are very different. People are not the same. They are not the same. And you tell me that it's good for me to learn this game. But he's been doing it for 5 years now. So okay, it's very different. But you know what if you are in a community with people who are trusted, probably share the same background, maybe their story the same and bring all of it together. But now it's not just him who is maybe I was in healthcare and now I'm looking again and someone saying, look, this stuff is very hard. Now I can see Ogechi also maybe he was in healthcare, maybe he was in construction, he just gets me the same very as me as well. Like he's saying, when I think this is hard, she says it's hard though. It's still is hard. And together we can have work out that. That's what quite a job. I call her and I say, oh, like she have applied for 4 jobs today and I've received 4 rejection letters. He says, we have received 10 though. So it's like you have a companion, a body that is learning the same as you are. But one thing that about the most is that not everyone is good for that level of vulnerability and also growing the team of community. But for everyone who is deep for that, you've got fantastic people like Ibrahim who are willing to say, hey, you know what, I've got my life, I've got things that I'm doing, but I'm going to dedicate my fight. How can I support you and help you show up for you? And I think that's really, really Ibrahim. Okay. Are you,
yeah,
and what things like the meeting us for is the work. Is that correct? What countries have we targeted specifically?
it's actually two countries on my mind. It is either Canada or the United Kingdom, either of the two. See, trying
Okay.
to weigh my options, trying to weigh my options,
What options are you weighing?
like trying to see if I should move to Canada or if I should move to United Kingdom. There are different continents entirely.
That's a different defilement. Fantastic. All right. So, Bubble these days for someone will pick someone who is what he is listening and he is exactly where you're at right now. But there's a difference. Maybe I'm in pod and I don't feel like I'm supported, or maybe I'm at a point in my journey where I feel like this is getting too hard. And one thing I'm seeing is that maybe the foundation of people, maybe one, two, three. A lot of people plan to practical college and they can say, oh no, I didn't know Excel was this hard. It can't be so difficult. And it's at that point where people start to when you have conversations unless someone who is the same data there at them, but who is very there, reaches out and say, wait, you know what, I'm going to support you through this. You don't have the level of support. Or unless someone is able to exactly what you are doing today. They don't feel supported. What would you say to something like that? Currently we're learning, but what with fantastic stuff like George, you don't feel supported, and we have a lot of doubts, questions. Am I even going to get the result I'm looking for? How would you put someone like that?
The first thing I'm going to tell the person is remember why you started. Like if you remember that the reason I started this thing is actually because I need this thing. Like I need this knowledge of tech of data analytics, whatever program you find yourself in. Remember why you started. And there's one thing about me is if you remember where you are coming from, you should know where we are going. That is one of my philosophy. So um if you are trying to learn something on the platform and you find yourself not understanding it, it is very normal for you to take a break at that moment because sometimes when you overload your brain, it's going to get clogged. So step out, play games, whatever you do, just chill out. Then when you come back, make sure you come back to it. Then there's a way I do mine. If you notice, I'm on my system here where I have a monitor here. I also have another monitor here. So when I'm learning, I transfer them. I transfer them away. I might be watching a video here and I will be practicing because I think the only reason you would be on the platform and you won't understand what they are teaching you there is probably because you are not practicing as they are doing it. No, probably you want to finish watching the video, we're not going to practice. It is never going to work that way. Don't do that. Even if you don't have multiple screens like me, you can watch the video on your phone or something. Then you can zoom in to make sure you actually see, as long as you can see what the tutor is doing, just practice along with the person. So don't go to the next video without understanding this particular video. That should be that meaning. Don't skip, don't say, oh, okay, let me just go to the answer. No, don't do that. Go back, make sure that before you cross a line, you understand that particular line. And if you can't pause, make your research. If you feel like you don't want to do drop-in session, make your research online or just message your facilitator. I think they respond very, very fast. I've actually messaged my facilitator like 2 or 3 times. I know I'm trying to do this. I if sometimes before the person reply, I would have solved it, but I still want to know because I believe the one thing about this analysis is I noticed that there's no one way to solve a problem. So even if I make a research and I find that solution, I will still ask you because I want to know what you would do if you were in my shoes. So it is also going to increase the way you solve problems and make sure you are very, very curious. You see, you need to understand what it means to be an analyst for you to be a successful analyst. Some people they just want to build dashboards. If some project I've personally done on that analytics, I think I've built about 5 to 6 dashboards. I make sure that um each dashboard I'm building, I learn something from it and I document my processes. That's the way I I grew because my I noticed that my first dashboard was not as good as the second one, not as good as because I kept on improving. So even if you are done in class, go online, go and look for data sets understand what it means to be an analyst. And I think it was when I started Excel and I started Power BI that I now understood why analytics first of all teach tough data, problem solving ways, the clips DM, the all those 80-20 rule, all those rule that they actually tell us because they want you to think like an analyst when we are working because if you are not thinking like as like an analyst, you won't be able, you will just be looking for what business question should I know? What sometimes once you see a paper, you should be able to already automatically know your KPIs and your health because you already know that this thing has to do with data. You already know the KPIs of it. And the only way you can know that is by practicing. You need to always practice. Even when because I think on the platform there are going to probably be 2 or 3 different practical videos for you on Excel. I think there were 3 on Power BI too. There were actually 3 data sets. So go online, go and source for data sets. In Excel, I think the analytics focused um on retail, like buying and selling, profits margin. But you need to understand that analysis goes beyond that. You can predict World Cup matches with your analysis. You can know the volume of people that are actually watching World Cup. So you need to understand what it means to be an analysis is not about how much did you buy, how much did you sell, this one, that. No. Analysis is all about data. So if there is data, you can analyze it. Like me now, if you give me any data and it's all about Excel, I will know that I can clean this data and I can do anything you want me to do with this data. You need to get to that stage as an analyst that no matter the type of data you are giving me, As long as I know where I'm going with this data, I'll be able to go there. So if you're just starting out, make sure that you know the reason you started in the first place. Don't say, oh, my work is too much. I can't attend classes. I can't do this. If you are doing that, then you should ask yourself, then why did I register in the first place? If the reason you register in the first place is because you actually want to break through, create time, create time. Our facilitators are 30 minutes per day. 30 minutes per day is not enough. Do 1 hour per day. 24 hours a day. Do 1 hour in a day. Read. Just make sure that you know why you started in the first place. That's just the only thing I would say. Because if you know why you started, you're not going to lag behind. And when you see that probably your pod leaders or someone in your pod understand this thing better, calm down and learn from the person. Even as I am like this, if I notice that someone is actually understanding something, I would first of all be listening because I'm a very good listener. I would listen. Then I would make sure I put my inputs just in case what I'm thinking is wrong. I always try to get it out of my head so that if what I'm saying is that's why sometimes in class too, I'm always very active because what I'm thinking, I want to make sure that what I'm thinking is right. So I would say it. So if it is wrong, I want to be corrected. That's just the way I am because I always make sure every time I understand why I started in the first place. So if you can understand why you started, you're not going to get stuck. And the program is also very well structured. Just follow them step by step and watch as you do. Don't watch and do later. That's just well. So don't, it's not watch me do. You watch it and you practice along. Yeah. So thank you.
Fantastic point, Ibrahim. I think that you know what this point yes, that you take over because every you said everything on my mind. So if you want to ask Ibrahim a question, we can drop your question in the chat section and Ibrahim will answer. So feel free to type a copy in the chat section if you have anything that you'd like to ask him. I like what Miriam said, born in.
You won't believe that's actually my sister.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Hi, Mary. It's a lovely feeling. She's here to support you as well. I think one of the best things that you've also mentioned when you were breaking that is as you are watching your video, you are also learning. I once learned something. Said we have monitors. That's fantastic. You don't have a monitor, go and get a monitor. It makes your life so much easier where you can share a screen. On one end, I'm watching the video, and then on the other end, I'm also trying to recreate it as well. But another thing, another critical thing, is do your research. And Ibrahim also touched on that as well. So there's a whole lot that you can learn. You can learn a lot from class. You can learn a lot from your community. If you don't know anything, you can. If you don't know about, if you don't have enough context, enough information, you have questions, you can reach out and get support. But one thing that you can never replace is do your own research into it. Be curious about it. When you are curious, learn faster. There's rarely anything that I've been curious about but I haven't gotten better. If I want to learn something, I will create the time. And I know that everyone has lots of things. There's a game, you're working, you're very busy, you've got a full time job, but things you've got to take care of. You know, but like Ibrahim said, that was key. Remember why you started. I'm here for a reason if I want to get out from A. I'm here because I want to get out from B. What thing? How can I get to where I need to be? And it's very exciting for me when I get to the opportunity to talk to people like Brian who are doing the amazing things in their field and who are just bringing themselves up to a point where they can achieve their goal. Bracky, one more question before we wrap up. Now remember, if you have a question for Ibrahim, please drop it in the chat. So have you gotten started with the job application? And if you have, what would you say to the people who are applying for jobs? You don't want crazy about the market. You are going to notice it, but when you apply for a job, I mean, it's registered and it's I think it's called recruiting now. It was really funny to me when I heard the first bit. Someone said, I just applied. I literally got to when I applied. I got right now. Rejection, no. It's not even normal. So there's like, the applicant tracking system, the ATS is at an all-time high right now. Everybody's occupating their pipeline. So what is it like to be applying for a job, and what advice do you have for people who are applying for jobs and who are also facing the same thing?
Okay, let me be very honest. You know the reason I'm laughing is because I think from 2025, like let me say, February last year up to this point, I've gotten over 100 rejects. 100. So when I started with analytics and I calmed down, I can't say I know they apply for anything again. I'm not applying for it again. So what I'm focusing now is I want to be done with. I'm done with Excel. I want to be done with Power BI. So once I'm done with Power BI and I've started SQL, I'm going to go all in because I've actually structured my portfolio. I've structured I've structured my portfolio. I've structured my LinkedIn. I have a website. So what I'm doing is I'm just gathering the skills. I already know how to apply. Because when I started applying in the first place, I was not getting rejection email, so I was sad. So when I started getting rejection email, I was like that okay, I'm doing something. At least they are seeing it now, seeing it now. So it's like it's step by step. I was not getting any results initially with them. I started getting rejection email. I want everybody to know that getting rejection email has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it might just be probably you did not mix up, or there was someone else that was better than you. That's just it. It does not have to do with probably you are bad at a job or you cannot get job or you start cursing and say, nah, nah, my village people they follow me. No, no be village people. That's the reason I'm actually prioritizing getting these skills first. Because I want to make sure that even if I get this job, I can keep this job. I think that is also what I'm working at. Because imagine you get a job now with you optimize your LinkedIn, everything, Snapchat, you can't start work now. You cannot even really match tables. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. So make sure that you work on your skill sets first. Focus on that, which means make sure that your first 2, 3 months at analytics, you go all in into getting that particular knowledge. Get it. Once you get Excel knowledge, you get Power BI knowledge, get SQL knowledge. I think in the job markets, you are the only thing you would not have is experience. And there's one thing you can use to replace experience, it's your portfolio. You can use portfolio to replace years of working experience. For me, that's the reason that each time I do anything in class, I don't just repeat whatever the facilitator is doing. I change the color code. I try to do something else. I try to write reports. I try to do so. I know that I'm adding all these things to my portfolio. So imagine you just go, I just submit my portfolio website and I told you that I started like 3, 4 months ago. And you can see that I've already built like 10 to 15 crore. Yeah, people like, what this one approves spare to you're going to you're going to so that's just my own mentality that like even if because some of them will say that we need 2 years of experience, 3 years experience, you cannot have that, but you can replace that with your portfolio. Don't just build one project and feel like build 10, 15, just the build they go. Look for data sets. If you don't know how to look for data sets, I use Kaggle. I use there's Kaggle, there's World Bank. There are different places you can source for data. Build build projects. The more you build, the more you even understand, the more the confidence you have and the more you'll be able to secure a better job. And don't be sad if you're getting rejection in it. Because me myself like this, over 50 rejection, 100 rejection, I will just wake up like this. I will just yeah, we are sorry, yeah, thank you. I'll just drop my phone back. We go again. But I've actually calmed down. I'm not applying for now because I actually want to finish through SQL. I want to finish Power BI. Although the only job I can apply for is if I see that they're saying Microsoft Excel, I would apply. But I'm not really, that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for I'm not yet with the skill sets yet. So once I have the skill sets, I'm going to keep but everything's already structured. I've already structured. So I feel like even as an analyst, there's another thing I want to add, which is the way I make my analysis is because as a beginner, you need to like you might be having trouble reporting what you are doing. So what I do is each step I do while cleaning my data, I write them down. If I remove duplicates, I will write it down. If I claim it, anything I do, I make sure that I document those steps. So when I'm done documenting, whenever I'm now writing my reports, it makes it extremely easy. I write my reports less than 15, 20 minutes because I already have my steps. So I'll just do this. Some people don't write reports. You see that I'm done with my book yet. Now report to me. Report is not supposed to take you a long time if you actually work on the project. I can write report within 15 to 20 minutes because all the processes have been documented. So as an analyst, you need to have documented process, have data. Like you must data is not what something you can skip. Have your data almost every time. So if you do that, you can actually be able to write a lot of things yourself. Then when you're not writing your presentation slides, it makes it easier. You just extract it from the reports, and everything is going to be so easy. You won't get stuck. You won't be feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just makes everything easy.
Awesome. Awesome. I'd love to hear about it. One of the things that eventually like when you complicated when you're working a project, they don't actually think to help to change the color. They will fix it. People would follow it step by step, like a recipe when you're cooking. Right? I put three spoons of salt in it. I want to put 3 spoons of salt in it. And then at the end of the day, you and 20 other people now have the same thing. Please remember to bring your personality, your style. You remember to bring that your project, even though you're working you and the facilitator and you can ask yourself, you can first something up, what is the result I'm trying to get? Try to make it different, try to make it yours, try to make it unique. And while you are doing that, you are learning. Otherwise, you only ever learn how to do things in a way that you're taught. But for you to truly begin to own your craft, you have to experiment and create your own sector. Now, another thing I want to change to you, I'm little with you, to don't know what but it mentioned that you only apply to Microsoft. I'm going to you like a really little Mr. People. There was a friend of mine who was working with this e-commerce company in Canada, and then she was leaving them. And when she was leaving, one person, by the way, you had to get 3 people to fill this one person's position. And that's because on the prompt, she was so magnificent in what she did. But we used AI as a partner. She was one area and she was doing some the outflows that she was putting out. They couldn't understand how one person could do all of that. So her portfolio began to grow. She moves beyond e-commerce, to also do supply chain results to a point where we could walk. But we got 3 people to do the position of young. But here's where it got crazy. Before they got new people, they had to build they built a job description. And when she said it, we were just laughing because how do you put one person going to do all of this? Because they're basically trying to create the person who are the next position. So when they began to lose and repeat it for a while, they realized, oh, well, this is not going to happen the really fast again. Then they now had to go back to reality. If they can find one person who can do the job of 10 people, they take it. But the truth is that a lot of times it's highly unrealistic. So do not talk yourself out of it just because you've never got this. Now, another thing is that I always tell people when you are at this stage, this is your audacity building stage. Build at an insane amount of audacity. One of the things that will keep you away from keeping up getting jobs as fast as you want when you are waiting until you tick all of the boxes. Oh, I want to wait until I've learned this skill. Well, then I can go into the interview and talk about it. Okay, so you got into the interview, they ask you about it, and we watch the response. What's going to happen? Was the world going to end? Is heaven going to fall? The worst thing anybody can do is reject it. And we need to stop acting like rejection is the world. It is not. I feel that rejection is redirection. If the job is meant for it, as long as you put in your best and show up, you are going to get it. But remember, you also have to build capacity before you get to that point. So all of this tell me about yourself, the things that you learn about your hiring process to be fantastic at the next job, and that can give the job that you actually so do not talk yourself out of it. A lot of companies don't feel love like people. Those people that can companies will come. I have someone like you that's inquiring type like that. And I'm speaking to him. I'm defining what he's talking. I won't know what he's writing yet. We claim him for something else. And then when we start speaking, we're like, now you have to redirect one. But we don't know what his title is yet, but we know where we want it. tool. So, and lots of times, people get into implement it. And when they start up, they realize you need you want to feel it body. So please, you want to focus more about applying for the job. Apply. When you see it, apply. When you get in again, you can now say, okay, you know what, does this work? This don't work. You watch till the country say, okay, don't want it because rejected, and we move. Is that true? We've got some questions in chat. I think we got one question. But if anyone else has a question for Ibrahim before we wrap up, please feel free to put it in chat. So Adeyinka Adeola is saying, hi Ibrahim, I like your lead cricket style. Well done. Do you watch any online video when troubleshooting? Yes, which one? Who wants to answer that?
Okay. What I do is, um, when I'm watching the video, let's say we're trying to build a dashboard, I first of all understand what we are trying to do. So the reason I'm watching the video is because I want to understand how it is being done. That's like I first of all establish the fact that I understand what I want to do. I just don't know what to do. So if I'm, let's say probably they're trying to make an edge a curve place. So the first thing I do is I make sure I watch that particular video again. So if I see that I still don't understand this, my best friend is ChatGPT. I don't want to know the kind of solutions the thing always gives me. But I think your prompts, different people use this ChatGPT differently. Your prompt is very important. You don't just say, do this for me. No. You talk to ChatGPT like he is your teacher. So you just explain that, okay, this is our data sets. You will first of all explain the data to ChatGPT. So explain the data that, okay, there's a data, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do, I've done this, I've done that. So I'm trying to do this, and this is where it's called. So if you still can't do it, I feel like, okay, you don't want to ask your facilitator, because the first thing should be go to the facilitator or something. But if you feel like probably you are on it and you don't want to stand up at all, the best way you can make your research is actually just know how to use AI very well. The way I use ChatGPT, if someone else is using it, it will not give you the same results. It won't give you the same because of the way I prompt ChatGPT very well. So, but then don't just go to ChatGPT that, oh, I'm trying to how can I do this? It will give you nonsense answer, to give a more complicated answer, because you not be blaming yourself that, why I can't come here. But it's a situation whereby you just say, hi, what's up? ChatGPT is going to reply. Like I chat with ChatGPT. Oh, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to work on this data set. This is the business question. This is it. This is the data set I have. I have done this. I have done that. Sometimes I still share screenshot of what I'm doing. And sometimes I still ask for suggestions that, oh, how about this color? If ChatGPT give me another, but then no, I don't want this. Give me another one. Like chat with it very well. The prompt is very important, because if you are just prompting it, come and do this for me, it will just give you, to scatter your eggs. But if you explain the process of what you've done before, it is going to know what you are supposed to do next, and it's going to help you without even trying to message your facilitator. And sometimes you can still message the facilitator, and he's going to give you another solution to that problem. That means you already know two things. You know two things to solve one problem. So I think that's the best thing I might recommend for you.
Thank you so much for that, Ibrahim. What's that saying? There's more than one way to skin a cow. I believe that's the saying. Yes. You've also got another question from Philippola. Philippola is asking, hi Ibrahim, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. My question is that as a beginner with no experience at all, what will you suggest?
See, the thing I was just saying, I was also a beginner. I said I started from technical and fundamental analysis. I was not using Excel. Like the tools I was using was different entirely, because I was a technical analysis analyzing crypto markets. All I did is knowing the price of BTC going up and down, all this kind of thing. The terms are different. So I also came into analytics with zero knowledge, like nothing. But the reason I was able to move fast was just because of curiosity. I understood that I needed this thing, then I started learning it one after the other. I took my time. This, like I said, this book probably how plenty it is. It made probably 10 pages, and for the first time in my life, I actually finished the pen. Even when I was in school, I never finished the pen. I never finished. They always lost. Well, this one is no more work because I finished it. Because I always write it down, and I believe one thing is, you see, the way I learn is probably different from the way another person learn. But I believe that if you're learning something and you're writing it down, It helps you understand better. So don't just be watching the video again. Just try to jot one or two things down. So you always go back to your notes sometimes. That oh, probably you are trying to do something in the future. You know that you can only go through your notes. So it is very important. Just get a note. If you're starting, the first thing you should do is get yourself a journal or a notebook. Write every step down. And you can even section it. Page one, this is what is there. Page one to page 10 is all about Excel. Page 10 to this. Make sure you section everything. As a beginner, you need to learn organization from the start. Organize your files, organize your learning structure. Understand that. I also used to set a goal for myself that before the end of this week, I want to finish section one. So if I lag behind for like first 2 3 days, I know that oh I have 4 days old. I need to make sure I finish this thing. So I give myself targets too. Because if you're working in a company, they will always give you deadline. A company can tell you that we need a dashboard by next week. And you have to start from the raw data. So you not be telling the company that you're tired of something. So you need to make sure that from the scratch you build that culture within yourself that you always give yourself deadline that before this weekend I want to build this dashboard. So that in the future when you are in a company, even if they give you deadline of Saturday, by Thursday you are done. You just be flexing. Saturday you're already ready for them. So make sure that when you are, don't just see yourself as a beginner. If you actually take the first step, you are no more a beginner because you are now better than someone that has taken the step. So the moment you start, you are no more a beginner. How I tell my head that you are no more a beginner. You started one step after the other. Don't skip a single video. Don't even skip a single line. That's another. Don't skip a single line. Once you see that, because the way finalities of the like it is very easy to actually follow because the cut is 10 minutes. But don't look at the duration of the minutes. Focus on the knowledge because you can always pause and when you play it will resume. Focus on what you're actually trying to learn. Sometimes I would say for 3 minutes, I'll not even be bothered because that for 3 minutes before I close my eye, you don't finish. I'm like, so for 3 minutes, don't finish. No, no, but just make sure that you are following step by step. It is going to be very easy. And don't kill yourself with the technicalities that you want to understand what this one, understand the concepts. You don't have to know the name of those things. Just understand the concepts. Oh, some people actually take joy in, they'll be using big terms thinking they're actually knowledgeable. No, no, I don't care about the names. The application matters. Some people might know what X lookup is, but they cannot even apply lookup. But me, I can apply X lookup without even knowing what. So it's just all about understanding all these things. Don't focus on the names. Focus on the reason behind it. And another thing I do is when I'm watching a video and let's say they ask us to load something and they ask us to click something, I'll purposely not click it and load it. I would not see that, oh, this is the reason. So that in the future, when I'm making a mistake and I see something like this, I would know that, oh, the reason is because of this. So sometimes, even if you are following step by step, try to understand the reason behind it. They ask you to click something. Ask yourself that if I don't click it, what will happen? So that's just one of the ways you build yourself and you understand all these things. And you also have the facilitators to always help you at every junction. If you feel like you don't want to make your research, but as an analyst, your biggest strength is your ability to make research. If you cannot make research, you have to be relying on people, or you have to know how to make your research. And it has actually been easy. Years ago, there's nothing like ChatGPT. You have to go online, search. But now you have to know how to use your prompts. That's it. If you don't know how to use prompts, ChatGPT will just be an tool. But it can be deadly if you know how to use prompts very well. And I don't take too much time answering just one question.
No, I think everyone is actually enjoying listening to you. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. That was just not a yacht of like expert. I want to calculate like that calculation. So in case you are terrible at talks, because some people would ask, I'm terrible. I have no idea what to do. One hack that you can use is open a link chat in ChatGPT and then talk about it. Use the voice thing. That is a lazy people hack. I found that the lazier you get, the better hacks you get. So use the voice based feature and then talk about the problem we're trying to solve. And then now after you find the prompt, tell it to define the prompt, tell it what you are trying to solve, and ensure that it covers all of the areas that you want. And then you can now go back to your cat that really has that context and you can share it. So that's one thing that you can do. Have a conversation with cat, use the voice feature and then chemistry kind of got to me. And another thing that Ibrahim said I think is very important is as an analyst, you have to learn. When you think about it, it doesn't even matter if you're in cybersecurity, you're in DevOps, you're a data analyst, you're in financial analytics. We are all analysts in the world of tech. And you know why? Because if you are in tech, you are here to solve problems. And solving problems requires understanding. Understanding requires research. So it's very important that you get costed, get this experience. If this is not enough for you, go and check. Go and ask for it. Ask people. I can promise you that you are not the only person who has faced that problem before. And for some people, when they were learning, is if they have confidence, you have community, leverage it. And whatever it is you're trying to solve, like if right where they find one way to solve it, you ask your facilitator, look at that. Now you found two ways to solve this. So I'm sure that everyone was very excited to get from you and to also hear your perspective on that. Janet said your elements people must watch the video understand. And it's deep to practice at the work. Exactly. Grateful said practice, practice, practice. Just like Ibrahim has spent time saying, we cannot emphasize the importance of practicing. So and then again, as practice, also take notes. Writing was moving. So thank you so much for joining us today, Ibrahim. It was fantastic having you having you open the grounds and officially open as the first edition of our pod. Excited to have you here. Love the conversation, and we're hoping that maybe we'll come back to in the next couple of months, and you'll be open to having a conversation with us to show us make a
Inshallah.
change. Is that likely? You're saying yes
Very
now.
likely.
So
Very
it's
likely.
exciting. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Now, if you want to speak now on the on the podcast, feel free to let your interest be known. You can send a message to the facilitator, and we're going to have you on the MPK here. Well, it was so fantastic having you here, Ibrahim. Thank you
Yes, sir.
so much. Thank you to everyone. It took your time to like escape. Yes. Bree is thanking you, Ibrahim. You're very welcome as well.
You're
Again,
very
so
welcome.
thank you so much, everyone. We're looking forward to the next edition. Please be on the lookout. And in case you missed this, don't worry, this is recorded and you can tap up to the recorded and you can just listen to what we do. But go and watch out. Thank you so much,
All right.
everyone. Please enjoy the rest of the day. I will
Yeah, you too.
and
All right.
bye, everyone.